Hello, baking enthusiasts, let's talk sourdough. It's not just bread, it's a journey with a living, breathing starter at its heart. Sourdough bread has a unique, tangy flavor. This comes from the starter. It's a mix of flour and water, naturally fermented. It's this fermentation that gives sourdough its character. Sourdough isn't just tastier, it's healthier too. The fermentation process breaks down gluten. This makes it easier to digest. Plus, it's packed with good bacteria. Good for your gut. So, what's going on in that jar of yours? It's alive. Wild yeast and bacteria are hard at work. They're found naturally in flour and the air. When you mix flour and water, these tiny organisms get busy. They feed on the sugars in the flour. This process creates lactic acid. Lactic acid is what gives sourdough its characteristic tang. The longer you ferment, the tangier the flavor. It's all about finding the balance you enjoy. Remember, every starter is unique. It's shaped by your environment and the flour you use. Ready to start your sourdough adventure? Great. Here's what you'll need. Flour. Use strong bread flour, preferably unbleached. It has more gluten, which your starter loves. Filtered water is best. Avoid chlorinated water, it can inhibit yeast activity. Jar. A large glass jar is perfect. You want space for your starter to grow. Scale. Baking is a science. Accurate measurements are key. That's it. Simple, right? Now let's get this sourdough party started. Day 1, mix equal parts flour and water, 50 grams each in your jar. Stir well, cover loosely with a cloth. Day 2, you might see some bubbles. That's a good sign. Discard half the starter. Feed it with another 50 grams flour and 50 grams water. Stir and cover. Day 3, more bubbles, a slightly sour aroma. You're on the right track. Repeat the discard and feed process. Patience is key. Section 5. Day 4 to 7, your starter comes alive. Day 4 to 6, your starter is waking up. It should be doubling in size after each feeding. The aroma will become more noticeably sour. Keep up the discard and feed routine. Day 7, by now your starter should be lively and bubbly. It's ready for its first bake. Don't worry if it takes a bit longer. Every starter has its own pace. Remember, consistency is key. Feed your starter at the same time each day. This helps establish a routine. Section 6. The perfect environment for your starter. Temperature is crucial for a happy starter. Ideally, keep it around 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 to 24 degrees Celsius. A warm spot in your kitchen is perfect. Too cold and your starter will be sluggish. Too hot and it might overheat. A kitchen thermometer can be helpful. Humidity matters too. A dry environment can cause a crust to form on your starter. If this happens, just stir it back in. Once your starter is active, you don't need to feed it daily. If you bake regularly, keep it at room temperature and feed it before each use. If you bake less often, store it in the fridge. Feed it once a week. Take it out a few hours before baking and feed it to wake it up. Remember, your starter is a living thing. It needs love and care. With time, you'll learn its quirks and how to keep it happy. Don't worry if your starter throws a tantrum. Here are some common issues. No bubbles. Your starter might be too cold. Try a warmer spot. Smells off? Discard most of it and refresh with new flour and water. Too runny? Use a bit more flour in your feedings. Too thick? Add a touch more water. Remember, baking is about experimentation. Don't be afraid to adjust and learn as you go. Your starter is ready. Now the real fun begins. You can use it in countless recipes. Classic sourdough bread, the ultimate test of your starter's strength. Pizza dough. Sourdough gives pizza a wonderful texture and flavor. Pancakes and waffles for a tangy twist on breakfast classics. The possibilities are endless. Explore, experiment, and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Making your own sourdough starter is rewarding. It connects you to a long tradition of baking. It's about patience, observation, and a little bit of love. So go on, embrace the wonderful world of sourdough. You might just surprise yourself with what you can create. Happy baking!